The day the building became mine, I did exactly what I always did. Packed my lunch the night before. Peanut butter sandwich, store brand water, $1.20. Took the 6:47 bus from Wicker Park. 2 transfers, same as always. Walked into Meridian Solutions on the 4th floor of 220 North Michigan. Sat down at the same break room table where Jessica Morrow had looked me dead in the eyes every single day for 2 years, and laughed. I unwrapped my sandwich. Took a bite. The room was completely silent. Jessica's coffee cup stopped halfway to her mouth. And I thought Grandma was right. Never show them what you're building, just keep building. This is that story. My name is Claire Atwood. I'm 33 years old, and I need you to understand something about me before any of this makes sense. I didn't grow up with money, not struggling a little money. I mean electricity shut off in January in Ohio money. I mean my mom splitting one rotisserie chicken 4 ways on a Friday night and calling it a celebration. I mean wearing the same 2 sweaters all of 8th grade and praying nobody noticed. So when I graduated with my MBA at 28 and landed a job at Meridian Solutions, a marketing firm in downtown Chicago, I made myself one rule: save everything. $52,000 salary, $680 a month apartment on the Northwest Side, 40 minutes outside the city, bus 72 to the Red Line every single morning. I packed my lunch every day: peanut butter sandwich, an apple, store brand water, $1.20, while my coworkers spent $15, $18, sometimes $25 on lunch every single day. I did the math once on a slow Tuesday afternoon. They were spending over $5,400 a year just on lunch. I was spending $438. That gap was my future. I protected it like it was the last thing I owned, because once it was. 3 weeks into the job, it started. Jessica Morrow, 2 desks away from mine, $400 ankle boots, perfect highlights, a talent for making other people feel small in public. The first time was casual. She walked past my desk, glanced at my lunch bag, and said, "That's cute, Claire." Small laugh. Moved on. I thought, okay, whatever. The second time, she made sure the entire room was watching before she spoke. "We're all going to Sorrento's for lunch. You should come sometime." Pause. Eyes dropped to my sandwich bag. Slow smile. "Oh, never mind." The table laughed. And I want to be very specific about what happened inside me in that moment. It wasn't embarrassment. It wasn't anger. It was something colder, something that settled very quietly, very deep, and just stayed there. This happened every single day. Oh, look, Claire's sad little sandwich. Someone should start a GoFundMe. Do you want us to bring something back, sweetie? Sweetie. I was 31 years old, MBA. 2 years of real estate experience they knew absolutely nothing about. But I smiled. Every time. Because my grandmother told me something once when I was 7 years old, sitting in our cold kitchen in Dayton. She held my face in both hands, her palms rough from decades of working other people's houses, and said, "Baby, never show people what you're building. Just keep building." So I kept building, and I said nothing. For 730 days. Before I tell you what I was building, I want to ask you something. If someone humiliated you at work every single day, for 2 years, would you confront them directly, or would you stay silent and let time do the work? Drop a 1 for confront, or a 2 for stay silent in the comments right now. I want to know, because my answer might surprise you. Here is what my lunch break actually looked like while Jessica was at Sorrento's posting pictures of her pasta. I was at my desk, eating my sandwich and reviewing property listings on Zillow and LoopNet, because every evening from 7 p.m. to midnight, I was flipping properties. It started 2 years before I joined Meridian, a $40,000 fixer-upper on the south side of Chicago in a neighborhood everyone else had written off. I remember the first night I walked through it alone. November. No heat. Floorboards that moved when you stepped wrong. I could see my breath in the beam of my flashlight, my hands so cold I could barely hold my clipboard. And I stood there in that broken-down house in the dark and felt nothing but certain this was going to work. I spent $11,000 renovating it myself, every weekend, every evening I could. 14 months later, sold for $127,000. I sat in my car after the closing and called my grandmother. She picked up on the second ring. I said, "Grandma, I did it." She didn't ask what. She just said, "I know, baby, keep going." I kept going. Property 2, property 3, 4, 5, 6, all through it. Jessica laughed at my sandwich. All through it, I smiled. And then, I found the building, the Meridian Building, 220 North Michigan Avenue, 8 floors, 12 commercial tenants, right in the heart of downtown Chicago. And one of those tenants was Meridian Solutions. My office, the exact place where Jessica had laughed at my lunch for 730 days straight. The owner, Gerald Hutchins, 74 years old, was quietly done. No listing, no agent, just ready. I approached him through my LLC on a Tuesday morning in February. We met for coffee 4 times over 4 months, and then something happened that I did not expect. At all. At our 4th meeting, Gerald looked at me across the table for a long moment, set his coffee down, and said, "You know what, Claire? I've sold 3 buildings in 40 years. This one, I want to go to you, not because of the number, because you remind me of myself 40 years ago. Hungry, quiet, building something nobody else could see yet." I didn't say anything. I just nodded, because if I had spoken, I would have cried, and I had waited too long to cry now. Tuesday, April 14th, 41 degrees in Chicago. I wore my regular clothes, took my regular buses, said good morning to the same receptionist. I slipped out for lunch, walked 3 blocks in the cold to the title office on Wabash Avenue, sat across from Gerald. He pushed the papers across the table. I picked up the pen. My hand was completely steady. I signed my name. Claire A. Atwood, owner, Meridian Building, 220 North Michigan Avenue, floors 1 through 8. Gerald stood up, shook my hand, held it with both of his. "Go get him, kid." I walked back to the office, sat down at my desk, unwrapped my sandwich. Jessica walked past. "Oh, look, the sad lunch special." I took a bite. And I went back to work, for the last time as just an employee. 6 weeks later, company all-hands meeting, full conference room. Everyone gathered. Our CEO, Robert Callahan, stood at the front and cleared his throat. The building ownership has recently changed hands. We've been in contact with the new owners, LLC, Atwood Property Group, to discuss our lease renewal. He paused. "We don't have full details on the new ownership yet, but we've been assured the transition will be smooth." Jessica leaned over to Marcus. "Loud enough for me to hear?" "Probably some old guy downtown. These building owners are always the same type."
I wrote something in my notebook, didn't look up, smiled. 3 days later, Robert called me into his office. He was staring at his screen when I walked through the door. He looked up, back at the screen, back at me. Atwood Property Group is registered to a Claire A. Atwood. Silence. "Is that you?" I sat down, crossed my hands on my lap. "Yes." He leaned back slowly. "You're our landlord." "Technically, yes, I am." He was quiet for a long moment. "How long have you known you were going to do this?" I thought about it. "Since I was 9 years old. Here's what I want to know from you right now. If you were in my position, do you tell Jessica directly that you own the building, or do you walk back into that break room with your $1.20 sandwich and let her find out on her own? Drop a 1 or a 2 in the comments, because what actually happened next, nobody in that office saw coming, least of all Jessica. Word moved through that office faster than anything I had ever seen. By noon, the whole floor knew. I walked into the break room with my sandwich. The room stopped. Jessica was standing by the coffee machine. She turned around, and I watched something happen on her face that I will never forget. The smile just wasn't there anymore. I sat down, unwrapped my sandwich, took a bite, let the silence sit for exactly 1 moment, then said, "Great building, isn't it?" Not one person laughed. Marcus came to my desk that afternoon, sat down, hands folded, eyes down. "Claire, what we did to you every day was cruel. I'm ashamed of it. I'm sorry." I looked at him. "Thank you, Marcus. That actually means something." And it did. Jessica never came. I didn't wait for her to. Lease renewal came 8 weeks later. I raised the commercial rates by 22%. Meridian Solution had a very difficult budget conversation. Not my problem. I was already reviewing the paperwork on my next acquisition, a mixed-use building 2 blocks east on Wabash. I ate my sandwich at my desk that day, $1.20, same as always. Some habits you just keep. Here's what I need you to hear before I go. The sandwich was never about not having money. After year 1 of flipping, I could have eaten anywhere I wanted. The sandwich was a reminder, every single day, of where I came from, of what I was building, of why it mattered, and every single day that Jessica laughed, she was actually doing me a favor because every laugh was another reason to keep going. My grandmother was right. The most dangerous person in any room is the quiet one who stopped needing anyone's approval, who stopped explaining, who stopped defending, who just kept building. And if you're sitting somewhere right now, being underestimated, being laughed at, being made to feel small by someone who has no idea what you're quietly building, good. Let them laugh. Let them perform. Let them spend $22 on avocado toast and think they've won something. You just keep building. Because the best revenge isn't anger. It isn't words. It's the quiet morning they wake up and realize you were never competing with them. You were playing a completely different game. The whole time. If this story sat with you today, you already know what to do. I've got another story coming for you. It's about a woman whose in-laws showed up to her house with a lawyer and a quitclaim deed and asked her to sign her own home away. She smiled, picked up a pen, and showed them whose name was actually on the deed. They never recovered. Check the description for that one. I'll see you there.